It has been reported that the family of Malcolm X will be preparing to sue the U.S. government for their involvement in his murder. Let's get right into this clip and then a discussion right after this.
The family of Malcolm X will now sue the CIA, the FBI, the NYPD because of the claim these entities engaged in a conspiracy. Judges also believe this happened as well. I'm going to give you some background and significant insight into why this is not outside of the statute of limitation and why the evidence is there today that was not there before. Let me first take you to the video of the daughter. Here it is.
Now, at the very place where he was killed, his daughter says she wants answers.
For years, our family has fought for the truth to come to light concerning his murder, and we'd like our father to receive the justice that he deserves.
This man, Thomas Hagen, was convicted of killing Malcolm X, along with two other men who were later acquitted.
Black people should realize that freedom is something that they have when they're born.
The family of Malcolm X accuses various government bodies, including the FBI and CIA, of failing to prevent his wrongful death. It's also claimed they concealed evidence that would have cleared the two men who were wrongly convicted of his murder.
And so for this great injustice, we will be filing a wrongful death lawsuit against these governmental entities for $100 million.
I have much more background. Some of you may already be asking, can you even sue the CIA? Yes and no. I will explain that during my presentation of this story. Late prominent civil rights leader Malcolm X, his family, will now file a wrongful death lawsuit against the New York Police Department, the CIA, the FBI, and the state of New York for their alleged role in the assassination of Malcolm X. The $100 million wrongful death lawsuit accuses the government agencies of fraudulent concealment of evidence. That's an important dynamic of this case surrounding the murdered civil rights icon's death. Now, they're suing for fraudulent cover-up, concealment. This is how you get things into court. You don't sue based on rumor or things you cannot actually prove based on evidence readily available. For example, for decades, it has been echoed that a coordinated attempt by all of these agencies led to the assassination of Malcolm X. Well, that may be true. However, when it comes to filing a court case, you get in based on the evidence you already have. They have the evidence of criminal concealment. I will explain that in just a moment. There's more. The lawsuit comes a little over 3 months after New York settled lawsuits filed by two men wrongfully convicted of murdering the Muslim leader and on the 58th anniversary of his death. The civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who was representing the family, said the exonerated man's lawsuit that claimed the FBI, NYPD, and the New York district attorney fraudulently concealed evidence made way for Malcolm X's daughter to seek legal redress. This is important, based on the government's admission that they concealed evidence involving the assassination of Malcolm X. The truth of what happened and who was involved has always been critical, Crump said Tuesday. Follow the information. Benjamin Crump, attorney at law, is saying because of this case before, which went down in 2021, because of a ruling from a judge in recent history, it provided the evidence required in order to move forward with this case. there will be some bumps in the road. There's more. Malcolm X was assassinated at the Audubon Ballroom in Manhattan. This was 1965. Crump and his co-counsel, Ray Hamlin, argued that the leader's daughters were traumatized after seeing their father shot 21 times by a group of men. Malcolm left behind 6 daughters. His daughter, Malika Shabazz, died in November 2021. Where I'm about to take you provides significant connection to the then and the now. Put up the picture of the letter written by a former NYPD undercover officer. The letter you're looking at was from 2011. The man who wrote it, according to the estate, is Raymond Wood. Raymond Wood was a black undercover NYPD agent. He wrote this letter as a dying bed confession. It was delivered to the family by the administrator of his estate, another family member with the last name Wood. Raymond Wood, who is now deceased. Crump said Raymond Wood was an undercover officer who was used by the NYPD to infiltrate and discredit black leaders and civil rights organizations in the 1960s and in the 1970s. In this deathbed dying confession, he implicates that the NYPD and the FBI conspired to assassinate Malcolm X. Crump said, adding that the letter indicates Malcolm X's death was orchestrated by the government. There's more. This was back in 2021, all right? The family of Malcolm X has made a public letter attributed to a now deceased former New York Police Department officer in which the ex-cop claimed the police and the FBI were behind the assassination in 1965. This was revealed by Wood that he was pressured by his supervisors. Who are his supervisors? The police, the NYPD, according to him, in the department to get members of Malcolm X's security detail to commit crime. Understand the strategy here. He says this was orchestrated by his handlers, all right, in order for them to arrest the security of Malcolm X. There's more. So that the security would be unable to manage the door security at the ballroom on the day of the assassination. Under the direction of my handlers, the letter says, I was told to encourage leaders and members of the civil rights groups to commit felonious acts, Wood's letter stated. The Statue of Liberty bombing plot was Wood's supervisor's idea, he said. The plot was publicized on the 16th of February, days before Malcolm X's murder. Walter Bowe and Khalil Saeed, 2 key members of the orator security detail, were arrested. At that time, he says, I was not aware Malcolm X was the target, Wood wrote. Officer Wood puts together an amazing tapestry of events. Now remember, he was an undercover officer. He was in possession of information that could have very well been either A, completely confidential given the rules of undercover work, or even classified. He gave a deathbed confession, said, do not deliver this letter until I am dead. Some may ask, why did he not stand up during his life? According to the administrator of the estate, they threatened to arrest Mr. Wood and pin drug trafficking charges on him if he ever spoke out about what happened. As a matter of fact, according to the administrator of the estate, if he even quit the department, they were going to charge him with illegal narcotics trafficking. So his silence was self-preservation. Back to the question in reference to the CIA. Can you sue them? The short answer is yes. The long answer is, but you may not get far. Here's why. There's a doctrine known as state privilege, secret state privilege, or state secret privilege, which allows the CIA to basically say, we can't give you that information because it's a matter of national security. This is not a law. There's no federal statute. Courts have interpreted this doctrine to be an extension of presidential authority or a presidential executive action. That extension or that interpretation of this extension of presidential power allows the CIA to administratively decide what information comes out and what information does not. All right, we will bring you details as they continue to develop.
Now, I just want to know how much longer. Y'all already know what's coming. Y'all already know what's coming. How much longer are we going to sit around and allow the US to literally continue to assassinate each and every person that tries to rise up with a voice? Like, at some point, you just have to come to the realization that it is time to abort the mission, to get off of this sinking ship and go about your business. Because staying in America is just not it. They have been doing the very same thing for centuries upon centuries. And even up until today, they still continue to do the very same thing, silencing anyone who rises up to speak out against them. In America, you have no voice. They like to put on the image, the persona, that you have a voice and that your freedom matters, your opinion matters. And in all actuality, they don't want to hear anything that you have to say. They could care less. In fact, when you say the wrong thing, it will ultimately cost you your life. As we have seen happen to countless black, brown skinned people who has rose up against the US, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and the list goes on. We are in 2023, and guess what? The very same thing that happened to Malcolm X is still happening today. I mean, as the man mentioned in the video, it's not about what you know or about what you feel or what your beliefs are, but it's about what you can prove. So, as we all knew, the U.S. had involvement in his murder so long ago. It was really nothing anyone could do about it because, you know, the U.S. is very crafty in what they do. They commit murders, right? They go about and they are literally murdering people and getting away with it. But let a ordinary citizen rise up and murder someone, and what happens? They get the whole book and then some thrown at them. Football years in jail. Sometimes they don't even see the light of day ever again. But yet we have the U.S. that's running around being vicious, taking lives, destroying lives, setting people up, manipulating the system. And guess what? Nothing happens. And why? Because they control that system. The others control that system. We have no part in something that is controlled by a whole totally different race of people. I don't care how much you want to say that your ancestors came to America and helped to build it up or what they did to contribute to that society. At the end of the day, when things is all said and done, the reality is that it is not our system. No matter how you slice the pie or which way that you look at it, it will never be a system created with a brown-skinned person in mind. You can boycott, you can throw tantrums, you can burn down every building. As I always say, it is never going to change the fact that that system is geared towards the others. So why even waste your time trying to change a dying system? It is time to get out of America and plant your feet somewhere else. Plant your feet on solid ground. Rise up and start to make a change. Start to change the way that you think. Start to do things differently. And I'm here to continue to follow this story to see what transpires over the course of the next few days, weeks, and months. I want to see how this whole thing is going to play out, and guarantee they'll probably come to some type of settlement agreement, because I'm pretty sure there is even more information that is available but not available to the public. I'm pretty sure that for their silence, they are going to be offered a hefty amount of money, a good settlement to silence them, because that's all we see. When situations like this happen and people are in a position to actually make a change and do something, and they have two legs to stand on to be up against the government, we always see that if they're not murdered, they are silenced by a payout. So I'm just interested to see how this thing is going to work out, how it's all going to plan out, and what is going to happen. This honestly is not anything new. This honestly is not a surprise to me at all. And I'm pretty sure it's not a surprise to the brown-skinned black community either. We all know what the U.S. continuously does over and over and over again. So this is no different. Drop a comment and let me know what your thoughts are on this topic. And until next video, make sure that you like, share, comment, and of course, subscribe.